Hello students, welcome back to computer science class. I'm Mrs. Jenny Shah and we are doing chapter cyber safety, chapter 15. Today we will talk about computer forensics. Digital forensics or computer forensics refers to methods used for interpretation of computer media for digital evidence. Computer forensics provides our legal system with a way to recover data from electronic or digital devices. Computer forensics is a systematic process that interprets electronic data for use in a court of law. The goal of the process is to preserve any evidence in its most original form while performing a structured investigation by collecting, identifying, and validating the digital information for the purpose of reconstructing past events. So basically, basically, just like any forensics, computer forensics is when you use digital evidences and you use these digital evidences by preserving them at the same time by investigating them and trying to uh, reconstruct what must have happened. So, important practices of digital forensics are, the digital forensics basically combines the element of law and computer science so that we can collect the digital evidence while ensuring that the collection process has retained the data integrity, which means having proof that the digital data is not planted or that the data has not been altered during investigation. So, computer forensics must follow some practices so as to ensure that the data that it is using is absolutely original and has not been altered in any sense. So, number one, they must acquire the data without altering or damaging the original data. Number two, authenticate that your recovered evidence is the same as the originally seized data. And third, analyze the data without modifying it. This is very delicate to do, to investigate, to analyze data without modifying it, without changing anything, not the date, time stamp, nothing. If even one of the things is modified, that data is in admissible in the court of law because it is now altered and it is not in its original state. So, computer forensics is a very deep branch. Now, cyber law is a very generic term which refers to all the legal and regulatory aspects of internet and the World Wide Web. Anything concerned with or related to or or emanating from any legal aspect or issues concerning any activity of netizens in the cyberspace comes within the ambit of cyber law. The growth of electronic commerce has now propelled the need for vibrant and extremely stringent and effective regulatory laws, which would further strengthen the legal infrastructure so as the crucial, which is also very crucial for the success of electronic commerce today. All the regulatory mechanisms and legal infrastructures come within the domain of cyber law. Cyber law is important because it touches almost all aspects of the transactions and activities on the concerning of the internet, the World Wide Web, and cyberspace. Talking about India's IT Act of 2000, In India, the cyber laws are enforced through Information Technology Act 2000, which was notified on 17th October 2000. It is based on the United Nations Commission for International Trade, which related laws, model laws. IT Act 2000's prime purpose was to provide legal recognition to electronic commerce and to facilitate the filing of electronic records with the government. That is, to provide legal infrastructure for the e commerce in India. This act was later amended in December 2008 through the IT Amendment Act. Now it provides additional focus on information security. Several new sections have been added on the offenses including cyber terrorism and data protection. The Information Technology Amendment Act 2008 came into force from October 2009, 27th. Major amendments of the act was digital signature, electronic governance, offenses and penalties, amendments to other laws. Digital signatures are basically authentication of electronic records by digital signatures which get legal recognition now. Electronic governance is basically e-documents that get legal recognition. Documents are required as per law by any arm of government can now be supplied in its electronic form because of digital signatures. Offenses and penalties. The maximum penalty for any damage to computers or computer systems is a fine up to rupees 1 crore. Amendments to other acts. Other acts such as Indian Penal Code 1860, the Indian Evidence Act 1872, the Bankers Book Evidence Act 1891, Reserve Bank of India Act 1934 were all amended so that they can now align with the IT Act. A social networking website is a web application or online platform where people can set up their public profile and make connections with other online people. These people are called online friends. There are many social networking sites. We are listing below some of the common and most popular social networking sites: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Facebook is a platform to set up your own page where you can share your ideas in the form of posts. Share your posts, photos, and videos. Through Facebook, you can connect with other Facebook users and exchange messages and posts. It allows you to view the posts, images, and videos shared by your friends and provides you the options to either like or comment on it. Twitter. It is a microblogging website which allows you to post a very small message. Earlier, the limit was 140 characters. Now it is extended to 280 characters. LinkedIn. It is a social networking for professionals. It provides features to make profiles look sort of detailed resumes with sections for work experience, education, volunteer work, certifications, awards, and all sorts of other relevant work-related information. Okay, Instagram. Instagram is one of the most popular social networks for online photo sharing. It offers features like sharing real-time photos, short videos while on the go, etc. Some other popular social networking websites are Google+, Pinterest, Snapchat, Reddit, etc. So, I'm sure you all are very, very, very uh, aware or very used to these social networking websites. But what I really want to talk to you today about is the appropriate use of the social networks. Two things that you all must be aware is: one is what you should know, about the social networking websites. And the second is the social media etiquettes. Social media is everywhere these days. These days, many universities look for digital footprint of the applicant student before giving them admissions. Similarly, employers may also look for digital footprint of candidates. Digital footprints are basically the records and traces of individuals' activities as they are as and when you all use internet. Digital footprints are permanently stored, and depending on these footprints, you may or you may not get university admission. Social media is everywhere. Direct and indirect connectivity with the social media has made it very difficult to remain anonymous anymore. The openness that the internet offers has resulted into a bigger challenge. Sometimes danger that the information we post online can be shared even before you know it. Whatever you do online, post something or visit a friend's page or search something, it leaves a permanent footprint which is called a digital footprint. And this remains for years, storing trails of your online activity. While using social networking websites, you must know about the right online behavior. What is a cybercrime? We've already discussed many sorts of cybercrime, but if you think that by making some anonymous profile and by using fake information, you can do things with and not get caught, you are certainly mistaken. Today, modern technology has tools that can find anyone online using the IP address, location, etc. So, you must never indulge into any of these activities. Everything that you do will get added to your digital footprint. Digital footprint are basically records and traces of individuals that you leave behind when you are using the internet. Your interactions on social media, your friend circle, the sites you visit, online purchases, locations that you visit through Facebook, check-ins, these all they make a digital footprint. A common comparison to digital footprint is the footprint you leave behind when you walk along a beach. Every step you take leaves an impression on the sandy surface that will allow another person to see the marks that your activity has made, and it offers the possibilities for them to follow you. Digital footprints are often also called as digital tattoos. A common comparison to digital footprints is the footprints you leave behind when you walk along a beach. But unlike a beach footprint, which eventually gets faded, the internet doesn't work like that. It's safe to assume that anything you do, publish, or post online will be there permanently and will never be washed away. Mistakes aren't as easy as it used to be once we post something online. It stays forever and cannot be undone. Digital footprints last forever, and colleges and jobs will look back at them to see if you are what you portray to be and how you conduct yourself actually. Digital footprints can be of two types: active footprints and passive footprints. Actives are formed by your online activity you do knowingly, whereas passive are formed by any and every activity that you perform online and you do not even know about it. For example, your search, your online payments, your gaming, the pictures you are viewing, etc. Talking about the privacy settings. When you start using social media, you should not go with default family settings ever. Rather, you should set up the privacy settings yourself by using the account settings. Through these privacy setting options, you can control who all can see your post, who all can send requests to you, and what all information about you is visible to others, even to your contacts, etc. You should always set up privacy settings for all types of social media yourself. So, these are some netiquettes that you must remember while you are using social media. Before making any post of a picture or even forwarding any message, remember, is it necessary? Do people really need to know what you're posting? Is it exemplary? Are you portraying yourself in a model fashion? Is it thought provoking? Is your post stimulating? Is it idealistic? Do your thoughts show any principle to it? Is it quotable? If someone used the words in your post to define you, how would you be remembered? What is your tone? Essential? Is it what you are saying is crucial to the conversation or conversation? Is it trustworthy? Do your words portray you as someone in whom people can confide? Is it true? Is it exactly what you intended? Basically, one should follow rules like be authentic, don't use fake names, don't pick fights online, protect yourself, protect your identity, test your post for publicity test, and respect your audience. With this, I'm ending this chapter. Your homework will be to go through all the question and answer at the back of your chapter from page number 526 to page number 529. With this, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning. Thank you.